Hello and welcome to the Female Founder Friday podcast with me, Lindsay White. I'm passionate about helping female entrepreneurs be great leaders, build high-performing teams, and create inspiring workplace cultures through innovative talent programs and practices. Because when people feel like they belong at work, they deliver their very best and businesses thrive. The Female Founder Friday podcast is all about connecting with the most incredible female entrepreneurs to talk about their journey to creating their own business, the mistakes they've made along the way, and how they view their own leadership. And I'm challenging all of my guests this season to take my leadership style quiz. And during each episode, we'll be digging into their leadership style and how it impacts the way they lead in their life and their business. And if you're interested in learning more about your leadership style and want some of my top tips to help you lead more effectively, you can take the quiz right now. Just check out the show notes or head over to 𝐲𝐢𝐤𝐢𝐭𝐚 and click on the button at the top of the page that says Take the Quiz. Then you can share your results, connect with my guests, and join the conversation on Instagram by following me at @HighVoltLeadership. Well, I have a really fabulous guest here today that I'm excited to have on the program. We've had some really incredible discussions, you and I. My friend Nikita's here today. Thank you so much for being a guest on the show.
Thanks, Lindsay, for having me. Yeah, we've gone there.
Yes.
Multiple times.
Yes, we have. And actually, one of the things that I really appreciate about you and the presence that you create and the space is that it's easy to go there with you. I feel like I just slide into it and I just want to tell you everything. That's what makes you remarkable. You just create a beautiful space without even thinking about it. Yeah.
Thank you. I definitely feel like it has a lot to do with just like how I grew up and the people around me. I was always around people who I felt like I could do that with myself.
Yeah.
So it just kind of created that space.
I love it. I love it. Well, tell us about that. Tell us about your journey to becoming a female founder.
Oh, it was bumpy, exciting, confusing.
Yeah.
What is happening? I definitely would say, as a woman who grew up in a household of 4 adults, so I have my parents and my grandparents, I have always felt like the mature person, like around the adults.
Yeah.
I love those deep conversations. I love being in the room with those deep conversations and real conversations. And if any of my friends were listening that are still my friends, they would call me mama even then when I was like 16 years old. So I've kind of been the person that people come to, but I also really enjoy that. And that has been a part of me becoming a founder and in my own business, in my own role. And so living with chronic illness, being diagnosed with chronic illness back in 2009 and 2010, kind of threw me for a loop.
Well, how could it not? How could it
Didn't
not?
know what was happening. I had always been the person people, quote unquote, could depend on. I would be there. I would do anything for anybody. And then now I became the person who would cancel plans and couldn't come and so sorry. And that really started to affect my identity of like, who am I? How does that look like? Right?
Yeah.
And through the course of that journey, I learned so much about myself. And I learned that it was important for me to be around other women who were also struggling, but also found that that's just a part of them, not all of them.
Yeah. Yeah, because it doesn't have to define who you are.
Right.
It's a piece of it, an important piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it makes you dig, to me, it made me dig deeper to the pieces of me that could allow me to thrive in a challenging circumstance. Like, as a leader, as a founder, you have to discover what are those strengths in you in order to propel you forward and also give you like solace even in the stillness of dealing with the storm, right? Like, let's think about it in the context of like a tornado. Like, everything around you is going crazy.
Yes.
But like in the center, there's this calm, like literally there's this calm, and learning how to cultivate that in a powerful, masterful way to, one, lead yourself in some way, and also not be the chaos, right? And so for me, it's been a journey of really tapping into my spirituality, tapping into my strengths, tapping into the weaknesses that I knew I needed to overcome in order to make them more strong, to be who I am today, to see my chronic illness, see living with chronic illness as a part that made me stronger.
Yeah, I do this work around positive intelligence, and it's a group coaching program, and I love working with clients in this coaching program, because one of the major tenets is that there's always a gift and an opportunity. And that's exactly what you're talking about, like finding that gift. And in those moments of trial, the gift is you really see the strengths, but you also get an opportunity to work on those pieces of yourself that maybe it's easy to ignore when everything is good. Right?
Yeah, and I think it's like also the realness factor of when you're in it, like when you're in kind of those darker places of that journey, you don't want anyone else telling you that there's a brighter side. Like I always tell my clients too, like you're like, I don't want to hear about the brighter side. Like it's dark. I'm good. I like this place. Like
nice and cozy down here in the dark. Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks. I'm good. Let me wallow in this for a minute. Right.
Yeah.
But then there comes to a point where you realize like you can't stay there or you will die there.
Yes.
Right. And for me, I definitely came to that high, like I would say as a founder, as a business owner, as a person, I came to that realization, like if you're going to listen to my podcast episode, there's an episode where it's like, the moment I realized I couldn't stay down. Like it was the moment I realized. Yeah. And I had to just like surrender. Yeah. And ask for help.
The key. Mm-hmm. The hardest part.
Yeah. The hardest part.
The biggest moment of courage. Yes?
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. Asking for help.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and in that moment, it was not, I always tell people it wasn't me. I definitely, again, I have a very strong spiritual sense of those things. Prayer, and the answer was very clear the next day when the woman that I didn't know existed came into my world, who had been in my shoes, who had been in the depths of challenge and despair, who's like, I can help you. And it became such a beautiful relationship. We're still friends today. I call her my little aunt. I call her my auntie friend.
Love it.
But she's more than that. She's my business friend. She's my mentor. She's the woman that helped me to see that possibility was possible.
Yeah. I love it. I love that. Possibility was possible. Like just the concept of possibility.
Yeah.
Just entertaining that. No, for real. Like I think for many of us, when we do get in those moments of despair, when we feel like we're down at the bottom of that well, just considering the possibility can be hard.
Yeah.
I love that.
And when you're living with chronic illness, I always tell people there's this piece of grief.
Sure.
That you have to give space for to grow and to like see the possibilities that are possible. You have to kind of give away and let go of the expectations around what you thought you would have control over versus what we are never in control. Like whether you have chronic illness or not, you never had the control regardless.
No.
But letting go of that kind of facade and accepting that there are possibilities that you never could have imagined.
Yes.
Because you were so fixated in your mind of how it should look. That in itself is a freeing growth moment.
Yeah.
That some of us don't ever have.
No, for real. But I love that. Like we I do some work, some coaching around career with clients. And for some of my clients, it's after they've been laid off or downsized or right-sized, whatever you want to call it. And there is a grieving process around, letting go of what could have been or might have been or you wanted it to be.
Right.
And so I can imagine, there's a parallel there. Because of chronic illness, I may not able to do this or be this or have that, But what else is available? What are what are all the other beautiful options?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
And
that.
I think it's kind of like this is going to sound silly, but it's kind of like an outfit. Like
Love
you
it.
have a pair of nice jeans, a slack, a shirt, whatever, that's what you do, but you can layer it. It can look a different way.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing I always feel like with chronic illness. Like, yeah, I'm wearing this jumpsuit, but I can layer this bad boy up. I can do this. I can wear that. I can wear like the big earrings, the small earrings, the scarf, whatever the case may be. But I still can get to the destination. I'm just going to look different.
Yeah, I love it.
And I think that's the piece of like stepping into like, you still can get there. It just will look different and it might be even better.
Yes, precisely. But it's going to be different. That we know for sure.
Yes.
That we know for sure. And I think what I really love is that you've taken your own experience of this. And now that's really the focus in your coaching practice is helping other women really discover it's different, but it could be better.
Yeah, I call it in my business I have a framework and everyone's like, oh my gosh, another framework. And I'm like, it's not the kind of framework you think. It's a framework to give you the capacity and the permission and validation that finding your way is okay.
Yeah.
And how to do that. And so really that's what I had to find for myself. I had to find my way of being me. Like, who am I with these challenges?
Right.
Who am I? What helped me get through this challenge? What things did I have to work on in order to cultivate to get to this other side that will empower every other area of my life?
Yeah.
How do you use that on purpose? Right? Yeah. You're all about on purpose.
I am all about being on purpose.
Yeah.
I love that because I think when you uncover what that purpose is, Simon Sinek calls it your why. Life, your life purpose, right? Like whatever you want to, your yeah, I mean, there's a million ways to label it. When you get real clear on what that is, why you are on this planet, how you are meant to serve, then you can use that as a yardstick for everything else.
Yeah, everything becomes really clear.
Yeah.
The decisions, I always like to tell people, is like the compass. You start to decide who should be in your space, who shouldn't.
Yeah, totally.
What tool should be in your space, what shouldn't.
Yeah.
It becomes a lot easier.
Yeah, 100%. And that purpose doesn't have to make sense to anybody else but you. That's the beauty of it. It only has to be meaningful for you as an individual. And then you just know, like you said, it's like true north on a compass. It just points you in the right direction that you need to start heading off. And you don't know what's on that adventure. You don't know what kind of roadblocks, what kind of milestones, what kind of pitfalls, what kind of beautiful, but away you go. I love that.
Yeah, it's the measure and the uncertainty.
Yeah.
It allows you to navigate this world in the chaotic way that it is and still know what is for you and what is not for you, what is going to help you grow, what is not going to help you grow. When you are clear on you, it's a lot easier to navigate things.
100%. I love that. I'm pretty sure you and I could just keep going. But I do want to ask you about your leadership style, because that's really important as female founders. Now, Nikita's already taken my leadership style quiz. If you want to take it, you can check out the link in the show notes. You can go to the website, highvoltageleadership.ca. Big orange button at the top that says take the quiz. It'll only take you a couple minutes. It's fun. It's insightful. I'm going to send you some of my top leadership tips. And you can compare what your style is with Nikita's. What's your leadership style, girl?
I think it's a little bit of all of them.
Love it. I love it.
Obviously, I think as a coach,
yes,
coaching is a thing that I do.
Yeah,
like it's what I
100%.
do. It's so funny now being a coach. It's almost like, oh my gosh, why did I try doing anything else? Like,
yeah, right, right.
But I definitely think I can't be a coach without the delegating, without being able to direct, and without having like the supporting, being able to find what support looks like for me and those
Yes.
around me, right?
Yes.
And so it's critical to know those different things about how you lead, and that for me as a coach, knowing how to delegate my time,
Yeah.
my energy at times, things that don't require my energy, and being able to coach women around the concept of what does this look like for you,
Yeah.
and supporting them in that is such a crucial part of who I am. Like I always tell people, I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm a coach, but that's like in me. Like I don't know how to
Yeah.
explain it.
No, and anyone who is a coach or has worked with a really great coach, I think will understand that,
Right.
because it is a presence. It is a truly a way of being. And when you are in the presence of a real powerful coach, it it does. It's shifting. It's innervating. It's energizing, because it's just the way we show up.
Yeah.
So I actually I think that's a beautiful description of it. And I love that you say that you're a blend of all of those styles, because the truth is, as female founders, we have to be able to leverage uh,
Absolutely.
different styles of leadership in different situations. There are moments when we have to be directive. We have to say to our team or our bank or our partners, this is what I need, and this is how I need it, and this is when I need it done. That's very directive. We
Yes.
have to be able to state that emphatically and confidently as business
Yeah.
owners. We have to be able to delegate effectively and then support and follow up so that people get held accountable. And of course, we have to be able to bring out that coaching piece of ourselves, to be able to ask beautiful questions and get curious and listen deeply.
Yeah.
Right? So I love that you bring all of that to the table in your business.
Yeah, I think it's so interesting when I think about those leadership styles as a chronic. This is something that I feel is a tenet of my ladies who are living with chronic pain, chronic illness,
Yeah.
autoimmune diseases, is that those leadership qualities is literally is how we are able to live and thrive. We have to
Yeah.
know how to, direct our health team, how to advocate, how to ask for what we're needing. We have to
Right.
know how to create those supporting systems around us in order to get what we need.
Yeah.
We have to be able to ask those
Yeah.
questions in order to, again, assert where we are going or what needs to happen in our own lives. So if you're wondering, and this is just random, if you're listening and you're like, oh my gosh, I never looked at my chronic illness that way, it's the thing that will probably help you propel even faster, even more, because you already are cultivating those leadership qualities in your personal life.
Yeah, for sure. I love that, actually. I love the way that you reflect that for the women that you work with, who are, they're managing a lot. They're managing the chronic illness piece, and then also trying to build really thriving businesses and really beautiful families. Because let's be honest, all of us, we are wives, mothers, sisters, aunties. I'm a grandma. We play a lot of roles. So I love that. I think that's really brilliant. I want to ask you, as a founder and an entrepreneur, maybe tell us where you've had those mistakes or those missteps or those screw ups along the way, and what you've learned from them. Such a great question.
There's a lot of them, girl. Like,
Yeah.
Lindsay, like there's so many.
I had a guest once say to me, do you want them alphabetically or chronologically?
Exactly,
it's kind of the truth, right?
It is. And I think I've come to a place now where I just I make a lot less of these mistakes. But definitely starting off, especially in entrepreneurship, I was giving away my power. I was giving away my story.
Yeah.
I was discounting my experience. I was discounting my journey. I was discounting the ability to live because I thought it wasn't enough. And so everyone else's opinions, everyone else's ideas was just like way better than mine. I just thought they were way better. I must be doing it wrong. And for a while there, especially as an entrepreneur, I was trying to wear everyone else's mask of what they were telling me was success.
Yeah.
And boy, am I happy to be free of that.
I love it.
Like, I cannot tell you how many times I changed messaging just because someone said they didn't understand what a chronic illness was. I knew deep down, like, a woman who's listening to me at any capacity, who's living with chronic pain, chronic illness, I don't have to explain to them what that looks like and what that means. But because I felt like it wasn't enough, I chose at that time to believe, well, okay, maybe it's not really that big of a deal. I need to over-explain myself, and it complicated things. So I wasted money, probably spent way more money on things like copywriting and websites and stuff like that I didn't need to do because I was chasing someone else's idea for me. Yeah. That wasn't ever my, like, you know what I'm saying? It was never my lane. It was never my path. I was creating a completely different jungle path that nobody else had created. Yeah. And that is a huge mistake. And I think even a lot of my clients, we are resetting, like coming back from out of that place of being like, yeah, it might work for them, right? Yeah. But that's not you. No. It's not your story.
Thank you for sharing that. I think that is really powerful because I know that I have fallen prey to that as well. And yes, we want to listen to experts. We want to get great advice, great coaching, great consulting, all of the pieces, especially when we first start our businesses. I mean, I'm a total accidental entrepreneur. I have no business running my own business. I mean, that really is the truth. And so there is that little inside voice that says, you don't know what you're doing. Like, and that voice then propels us to seek experts. Yeah. But in all reality, there's also a voice inside that knows. Exactly. That's that purpose voice. That's that leader voice. That's that sage voice. And I think we can get very distracted by the experts and the programs and the frameworks and the blah, blah, blahs. And we stop listening to that little inside voice that says, no, this is what you're meant to do. Yeah. This is who you're meant to serve. Yeah. And I think it's important that we listen to that. And I love that you brought that forward, and the women that you are meant to serve, they know exactly what chronic illness and chronic pain means. Those are triggering statements. So I got a message from a coach and business a business consultant that I follow and I really love. I've worked with in the past, and she sent her newsletter the other day. It was about triggering statements, and that we shy away from those. We shy away from those because we think we need to soften it or couch it or explain it. And in fact, those triggering statements are going to trigger the right person. If we get that message right, they're going to trigger the right person.
Yeah. And it takes, what I have found too with that is that, especially for any entrepreneur who is purpose driven and creating something that has worked for them. Yeah. We forget. And I think this is something I had to realize, and I still have to check myself and be like, you know what, this person created whatever framework, whatever thing that they're doing through whatever unique circumstances that were for them.
For sure.
And it's not to say that their way of doing something is not useful, but knowing yourself within that framework is the most important thing you must have.
Can you say that again? Right? Can you repeat that? That was beautiful.
Like knowing yourself, going into anyone's framework, anyone's coaching, whatever, is the most important piece you have to keep forefront, right? It's the most important thing.
Boom. Like total mic drop moment.
Yeah.
Total mic drop moment. If you are taking someone's program to help, because they are going to fix you or find you or solve your problem, there is no magic pill to this. There is no guaranteed solution here.
Yeah, you have to be open. Entrepreneurship to me is like curiosity at its finest and creativity at its finest. Like you
Yes.
have to be open to the idea that just because this path looks like this, like you creating your own path is really how you find the what works for you.
Yeah.
But sometimes we go into some of these programs and we listen to some of these leaders that we're following and we fall prey to like, oh, I need to abandon this piece of me or these parts of me because they're saying that doesn't work. But that's in fact likely the way it's going to work for you.
Yeah.
Right? It's finding how it connects with you. And that's something that takes a long time to get to. This year is probably one of the first years that I've invested with that so very firm in my brain.
Yeah.
That, okay, I'm coming into this container, I'm working with this coach or whatever, and being able like, yeah, you do it that way, but I'm going to finesse it to my way.
Yeah.
And that's how I can be confident that it's going to work. It cannot be completely your way.
No.
Right.
I can't tell you how many women I speak to, clients in my network, in my friend circle, who have had that issue. They've gone into some kind of coaching program thinking that this was the thing. It was the end game.
Mm-hmm.
And recognizing usually within a reasonably short period of time that this doesn't feel right. It doesn't work for me. It isn't resonant. It's maybe violating some big values for me. It feels deeply uncomfortable is maybe the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
And at that point, they've already spent $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 to sort of recognize this isn't right.
Mm-hmm.
And because they didn't really recognize like where am I in all of this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think that's just brilliant. I think that's just brilliant. I love that so much because it's just really important that it's gotta be you in all of that.
Yeah. And it's hard to do. I'm like, I'm not going to, be on this mic saying like, it's so easy to do that. I've been in business online since 2016. So like to be in 2022, 2023, we're going into.
Yeah.
This year is the year I really stood in that. Like I stood in that. I looked actually at all of the investments I made through that lens of like, not everyone's values are going to line up 100%. But I can pick out which value isn't and why I'm not going to do something a certain way.
Yeah.
That to me is the most powerful tool you can have, especially as a leader.
Yeah.
Because you're leading others to do the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. I think if there's ever work that you're going to do as an entrepreneur and time that you want to spend and money, it is on getting clear about what are your values? Why are they important? Beyond that, how do they show up in your world? How are they lived? What do you do that makes that value real?
Yeah.
Figuring out your purpose. What the hell are you even doing here? Right? And then moving forward from there. I think that it's been incredible value to me to have done that work and to continue to do that work. Like, let's be clear, that work never ends.
No, yeah.
I mean, what you're saying is it's really helped you make some incredible decisions in your business in this past year or so.
Yeah.
I love that.
And it's the thing that helps you even when things are kind of scary.
Yeah.
When things are scary and quiet and it's like, unsettling with, that's what you and I were talking about before the show. It's just like before the recording, like life is going to have its bumps and just left field life hurls and crap. Like it's just crap sometimes. Yes. Like,
all of that.
Being able to be like, okay, yeah, this is happening and all right.
Yeah, here we are. Yeah, totally. I love that so much. I can't thank you enough for this conversation. Again, I feel like I want to tell you all the things in my world every time I talk to you. So I really appreciate your time. I appreciate your courageous sharing. and just, that you always just show up so beautifully. So thank you for being with us today on the show.
Thanks for having me, Lindsay. This was fun.
Oh, my pleasure. Well, thank you so much for tuning in today. I sure hope you enjoyed listening as much as I did hosting this conversation. And if you did enjoy today's episode, would you do me a favor? Would you give the episode a 5-star review and share it with all of your friends? I would really appreciate that. I've got a goal to impact 1,000 female founders, and with your help, we can really amplify this message. Thanks again for being a part of the show, and don't forget to connect with me and all of my guests on Instagram at High Volt Leadership. We'll see you next Friday.